What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. This is the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast, the official podcast of thefantasyfootballfanatics.com. It is Friday, December 22nd. I'm your host, Griffin Palmer, joined by the one, the only CJ, the Hitman Hickman. CJ, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Back from my vacation, man. You know, celebration, going to the championship round. Like the New York Giants last year, I went down to Miami, had my Timberlands on. Got on the yacht. I will not have the result they had.
I was going to say, they didn't win a game for a solid 8 games.
We learned what happened. But, it was good to get some R&R, and listen back to the show. Screw you and Jason, just by the way. But, so we're good.
All right, just touching all the bases. Very good.
Yeah,
all right.
Man, just touching everything up,
Yeah, well, championship weekend as we move into our head-to-head matchup for the championship in our league of record this year.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
Oh, man, I got to tell you, if I lose this game, CJ,
it's going to be wonderful.
I'm going to just disappear for a couple months. The show.
You can't.
The show's just not going to happen.
The fans are going to be like, where'd Griffin go? Where'd he go?
Where'd the show go? I'll burn it to the ground. But you're also in the championship of our listener league, right?
Yes, man. Yes. And shouts out to Desirats. I defeated him. Michael, I defeated him our last to be able to get to the championship round. We're our returning champion.
Yes,
he got back there, Mr. Will.
Mr.
Congratulations to you, guy. Look, the seniors home. I heard that it's staying a little late.
Wow.
On Monday. So I'm gonna take you back there, buddy. I see you're a little lost.
Okay, so Will returning to defend the title this time around against CJ. And it will be very interesting to see how this one plays out. Two good teams having two very good seasons.
He's got some good matchups, though. It's a little nervous.
A little scared? You backpedaling?
Just a little nervous.
You hedging there a little bit? All right.
Man,
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
And I know Jason is in the championship for our League of Record.
Yeah, with
league,
your mom.
Secondary league, yes, against my mother. Which,
it was so clever of you to just accidentally forget that. Like, I didn't know.
No, I honestly forgot.
I got 13 leagues.
Well, that's 12, but yeah. It's I just can't keep it all straight, but she's good. As being in the title game will prove. So, yeah, family leagues are fun, friend leagues are fun, and winning competitive League of Record leagues is fun. So, hopefully things go my way, and I'll be a 4-time champion. If not, it'll be your first time, and that'll be exciting for you.
There we go.
And not for me. So, nobody cares about our league, so I guess we'll move on, and we'll move into our topic of the day. We'll start with some top headlines, of course, though, as we always do. Just a friendly reminder to everyone out there. Again, as I'm sure you are all aware by this point, there was no Thursday night football game.
Oh, yeah. Good job on that, guy.
Yeah.
Good job on that. Telling all of our fans to stay up for games that don't even happen. Good job.
What? Stay up for games that didn't happen?
You on your send-off on the Tuesday show, you said, we'll be back after Thursday night football. And
did I say that?
Yeah, you did say that.
That was an oversight by me. I forgot that there were 2 Saturday games again, and I think one of them was the Thursday game. I don't know, man. Our listeners are smart, and they know that, look, the games are on Saturday. There's no Thursday game. We know what he meant.
No, that's not what happened.
It could have been. I'll choose to believe in our listeners in that way.
Okay,
but,
all right.
Of course, the 2 Saturday games, Colts versus Ravens, and then Vikings at Panthers. So 2 things to watch. So if you have players playing in those games, make sure you set your lineups by Saturday and get those guys out of your flex positions because you don't want them locking down your flex position. Then you can't be flexible. Hey-ho, pun intended.
One more thing. Did you say Vikings at Panthers?
At Packers.
Packers. Oh, okay, all right. Just correction. I just want to make sure.
Yes, just making sure we're all on the same page there.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
Yep, Vikings at Packers. And with that, I guess we'll move into our quarterback news with the Packers. Probably old news if you're hearing this by now, but if you haven't heard, it's our job to inform you that Green Bay has placed quarterback Aaron Rodgers on injured reserve. The Packers, with a Falcons win, were basically completely eliminated from playoff contention, so they decided, why risk the franchise? Why risk our down the road first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback? We're going to put him on IR and shut him down for the year, get him right for next year. So
smart move. I mean, it was nice. It was a nice little hope for them. Winning those couple games before and seeing Hundley, in his progression and keeping the team alive. But at the end of the day, look, this dude, Aaron Rodgers, he's missed a lot of weeks. And even with missing a lot of weeks, he still performed decent. I mean, for fantasy-wise, but reality, I mean, he still was missing some throws, looked a little rusty, and just it wasn't enough to get the job done and get them to move on.
Actually, if memory serves, with their loss to the Falcons win, they were completely mathematically eliminated. They had no chance. So, so Aaron Rodgers, if you are a Green Bay skill position owner and you had, any semblance of hope that you're holding out for a surprise, possibly low floor, high ceiling play from them this week against division rivals Minnesota, no. Not going to be the case. Without Aaron Rodgers there, of course, everyone's ceilings falls, and we're getting a lot of people asking, well, does that mean that we can plug Jamal Williams back in? No, and we'll get to that. Let's move on to a little bit of other quarterback news. Now, it won't be, though.
I don't know, man. Look, recently the Vikings' run defense does not travel well, so I'm just saying. It could be a thing.
I have full faith that they'll do fine. And there's plenty of other reasons. We'll get to it. Don't get ahead of ourselves here.
All right.
This was a bit of interesting news that I saw, and this was from Yahoo Sports insider Jordan Schultz, I believe is how you say his name. I'm so bad with names I don't say all the time. And he put out a tweet that said that Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Blake Bortles has more passing touchdowns than Matt Ryan, fewer interceptions than Russell Wilson, a better quarterback rating than Cam Newton, more rushing yards than Marcus Mariota, and more passing yards than Derek Carr, with a higher completion percentage than Carson Wentz on the season. So that's pretty eye-opening.
That's pretty good.
Now, I want to point out that if you go through a list of standings on the season, you could put a list together like this for a good number of people out there. But, I mean, just in general, we went into this season all expecting Blake Bortles to be absolutely and completely, utterly useless. Yet the man has been on fire for the last couple weeks, and great matchups have helped. Injuries to the running back game have helped as well. And, I mean, it all being said, he's still on fire with a good matchup going into Week 16. So, I mean, I know a lot of people still have this thought process, I lost my starting quarterback. Who can I stream? I'll say, hey, Blake Bortles. And they say, real good joke. Who should I really play? And, I mean, Blake Bortles. He's a streamer I've been recommending to a lot of people this week. So, people have to get that perception change in their head, and this is something we talk about in the offseason, how it's amazing what happens in the first quarter of the season sticks with you throughout the remainder of the season. So we'll see.
He started out really slow. I think the Jaguars, they babied him a lot, that feeding Leonard Fournette, and we saw all those crazy stats that he was doing, and those week-winning performances that Fournette was doing, and then they were slowly putting Bortles in the mix, and he was making plays, not killing the team. I mean, he still has those turnovers from time to time, but I mean, I think that percentages like that maybe just because the low volume he got throwing the ball early, and now he's starting to turn it on more, and it's trust himself. And I mean, it's something. I mean, you hear this from analysts all the time. When you get you a running game, that's the best thing to help out a quarterback, to take the pressure off of him, and that's one thing that they got going on down there with Fournette, is you got a running game going on, and now you got a quarterback that's got his confidence back. He's starting to play like he was a couple years ago when he was, fantasy's hero for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And now he's putting some good work. So I mean, you got to respect the kid's arm, and he's got his confidence, he's got his swagger back, and this team is playing for something. So this is good for the Jacksonville fans and for fantasy.
I'm hoping that I can ride him to my second championship in 3 years.
Oh no, he's gonna die today.
You think? You think so?
He's dying.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great. No.
He's RIPing this week.
I'll throw this question out to you, CJ, because I doubt you've seen the statistic. Over the last quarter of the season, and this will be the last thing we talk about before we move on, where do you think Blake Bortles ranks among quarterbacks in the league?
As far as reality or just fantasy?
In fantasy.
Fantasy? I got it. I was going to say top 15, but I'll go even bolder. I'll say top 10.
Top 10?
Yeah, I'll say top 10.
So do you have him around 9, 10? Or
I have him around 7 or 8 and 7.
7 or 8? All right. He's the quarterback 2 over the last quarter of the season. Over the last 4 games, he's thrown for 1,063 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and also rushed the ball for 87 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So,
that's good stuff.
The fantasy points, garbage points count. This is something we talked about with Blake Bortles for years, that he's the king of garbage time, and fantasy football is all about those stats. So Ben Roethlisberger 1, Blake Bortles 2, Russell Wilson 3. One of those things is not like the other, but yet here he is for the second year in 3 years. So Blake Bortles, everybody, and I am... as I've already kind of suggested, he will be in my starting lineup in my league of record against CJ this week. So, and I'm bold enough to stick with that because I have already dropped a backup quarterback that I had for streaming purposes last week that I didn't play because I used Blake Bortles, and that was fantastic. So, let's move on to the running back position. We'll go to Dallas, where head coach Jason Garrett said that running back Ezekiel Elliott, quote, looks good, end quote. So, we all heard the news updates, the blurbs. We saw the photos. We've heard that he's been, doing great, and we expect him to jump back in and get the full workload. So if you have been holding on to Ezekiel Elliott, you're probably pretty happy about this news, and you're going to be firing him up with confidence against the Seattle Seahawks that just gave up 4 touchdowns to Todd Gurley last week. CJ, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I mean, look, I've seen the videos. He looks good. He looks jacked. I mean, all that stuff is good. And then, especially, I mean, you gotta be feeling real confident, just like you said, after seeing Todd Gurley just run up and down the Seahawks. And he's a multi-versatile back as far as running the ball down the throat, going on the outside, and be able to catch the ball. So I mean, all the signs and stars are aligning. Stars, Dallas, see the pun. All right, so it's aligning for this. You playing them in championship week if you're still alive, and if you're the team that has them, that this is going to be a good week from you. You should get a great performance. And I saw a quote saying that he wants to rush for 200 yards. So that's definitely not going to hurt you as far as seeing him go out there. That will definitely get you on the right track. On the Sunday, man, seeing those points right there. So I mean, fantasy wise, this is a good sign. Over
under? Do you think he gets 60% of the snaps on his first week back?
Over. Good gracious, over
70%.
They're gonna run him off. They're gonna burn all of his legs.
Yeah, if he doesn't get at least 80% of the snaps, I'm gonna be shocked. Honestly, is where I land with it. So, if you're an Ezekiel Elliott owner, and they're going to use him a lot, by the way, because I mean the Cowboys still need help to get into the playoffs. They're currently the 9th seed. They're in the hunt looking in, so they're going to play their stars. They're going to play the crap out of them. And, so if you have Ezekiel Elliott, again, say start him with absolute confidence. This next bit of news, however, is a little concerning. Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator Clyde Christensen said that the team has used running back Kenyon Drake more than they would prefer, with running back Damian Williams out injured. Now, this is concerning for a number of levels. One, Kenyon Drake has been amazing for the last quarter of the season or so. So the last thing we want to see is for him to get reduced touches. I mean, he is the running back, I believe, 5 over the last quarter of the season. And he's got a pretty darn good matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs this week, who have just been giving up points on the defensive side. But they're saying they want to throttle down his usage. Damian Williams is, by all accounts, back from injury and going to play. So what does this do to the upside for Kenyon Drake in Week 16? CJ, do you have any insight here?
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at it from the team's perspective. Maybe they're thinking if they continue to win, they have a shot at maybe trying to get the 6th seed or something like that. So, they want to temper down the usage so they can be able to use them in the playoffs. That's my only reason for them to be able to do that, because, I mean, you look at the roster, you got, just like they said, you have no choice to use them because with the injury to Williams. So now Williams coming back, I can see them going back to doing what they did before, when Jay got traded to the Eagles, where, they were using Williams as that power back, that they can use on this first and second down. And then that's when Drake was coming in shining and being that receiving back. So that's my own, I mean, that's what when I hear stuff like this is where kind of where my mind goes. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Damian Williams, this is a concern for me on a number of levels, especially because I'm playing him against you this week. Mm-hmm. But with Kenyon Drake there, but with Damian Williams coming back, it's concerning. But we don't know if he's actually going to play. You know, this shoulder has kept him out for the last 3 weeks. And as of Thursday, he's still only been a limited participant in practice. We're hearing reports saying from Coach even Adam Gase saying that they're still not comfortable with his activity in practice and that he's still getting stiffness and soreness when doing certain activities. So his status is still up in the air. If he plays, I think it will be limited. I'm still banking on Kenyon Drake to be a good floor play, and obviously he's got a high ceiling. I mean, the guy, like I said, he's the number 5 running back on the last quarter of the season alone. He's been getting you, I think it's averaging, was it like 50-some yards a game, 50-plus yards receiving. So he's getting you PPR options as well. He's really good, and you're starting him. So, I mean, it's one of those things that check the injury reports. You know, if you have a better option, weigh your choices. But I think I'm going to be rolling with Kenyon Drake unless we hear that Damian Williams is a full participant on Friday's practice, so later today, and then maybe reevaluate. But I think I'm going to roll with him either way. That's just kind of where I'm at. Are you scared off at all, or are you? I'm
not scared off. I'm just saying that's probably what their mindset is going to be. And if Williams is healthy, or even 70, 75 or 80%, they're going to put him in there, and then you're going to basically see those. They're gonna spell Drake, but I think Drake is. I still feel good about Drake, but I see Williams, trying to eating in a little bit of his carries.
Oh yeah, I see no world where Kenyon Drake is not the lead running back in the bell cow, but I'm worried about volume to Williams, so we'll see.
Yeah.
In Washington, running back I almost said Samuel. Samaje Perine left practice on Thursday with a groin injury, so that is obviously incredibly concerning.
I got to look for Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, this is something you're going to want to monitor if you are a Samaje Perine owner and you were in a position where you were starting him this week. Not necessarily the best option, but you've got your teams, you know your limitations, and we'll cover that more in a little bit. But yeah, follow us on Twitter at the FF Fanatics to get more news updates as we go along. It's going to be something that you're going to want to be careful back. He's going against the Broncos, who are giving up the 4th least points of fantasy running backs as it is, so it's not a good matchup. And if he's banged up, groin, we've seen that really affects their ability to cut, be mobile, move laterally. So concerning stuff. And getting injured in the middle of the week, as we've talked about all season long, is terrible because it's a fresh injury. There's no chance to recover. And we'll round up the running back position in Atlanta, where head coach Dan Quinn said that running back Tevin Coleman has cleared the league's concussion protocol. So good news there if you're a Coleman owner. And not a great matchup, though, against the Saints, who have been very good on defense for the second half of the year.
Saints going to play angry this game.
Very angry.
A little angry.
At home in New Orleans, I believe, in the Superdome, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Falcons, let's go to the wide receiver position. We'll talk about Julio Jones, who has said that he is, quote, fine for Week 16. Now, he is dealing with both ankle and thumb injuries. So, he I'm not concerned about it. I think that they're just being careful with him. And, he played the full game against the Buccaneers last week, so I'm not overly concerned. He did not practice as of Thursday, but I think that's just veteran rest. They're just being careful with him. I've heard no report suggesting that he won't play. Have you?
No, I haven't, and I don't see them not playing him. They still got a lot of stuff to play for. I mean, they got the 6th seed right now, but they got a lot of stuff that they need in their favor to keep going on.
Yeah. He's been in walkthroughs. He's had limited participation in practice. He's gone through some drills, running, catching. Yeah, no, I think he's definitely going to play. I'm not worried about it. Just looking at this practice report right now. Let's head over to Green Bay, where Washington. What is wrong with me? Where wide receiver. I was looking at a different article. Let's go to Green Bay, where wide receiver Devontae Adams is officially out for Week 16. Of course, dealing with that concussion from the illegal hit. So no surprise there. But again, not someone you're probably wanting to start. Brett Hundley's in. Let's say, hypothetically, Devontae Adams was healthy. Knowing their relationship, would you think he's a startable option at all?
I mean, he would be the guy that I would be targeting. I mean, you just look at the trends.
Oh, yeah, he'd be the only one worth starting.
Yeah, with him and Hundley, that's a lot better than him and Jordy. So, I mean, maybe this with Adams most going to be out, maybe this is a up for Cobb, possibly.
No, I think that this is the okay. I'm not starting any Packers pass catchers if I can help it. I'm not starting any Packers if I can help it at all. We have seen that Jordy Nelson, who is very much a timing route and contested catch player, Brett Hundley's not throwing him those balls, and he's not having that type of precision. I think that, kind of like you said, I think Randall Cobb is the beneficiary here. I think Randall Cobb becomes the main target in this offense. If you're in a full point per passing touchdown league, might be a viable starter on volume alone, but I would not be expecting any big home run plays from either one of these guys. I don't know. Do you feel any differently about that?
I mean, look, I respect and like the Vikings defense, but they've been a little shaky, a little suspect when they travel. So I don't know. I mean, I do expect them to handle business. I don't see them giving up gaping holes. But as far as passing wise, I think they're going to be a little more stingy versus the running game. I think they'll give up a little more on the run versus the pass.
Over under, Packers score 17 points.
Wow. Under, I got them scoring 10.
I've got them scoring 13, and that hurts me to say as a fan of the Pack. All right, let's move on to Washington, which is not Washington, to Carolina.
What is up with you in Washington?
I'm trying because I have an article up on my other monitor that I keep looking over
take
at.
That off.
I know. I'm closing the window now. Okay, no more Washington mistakes. I was even going to try and smoothly transition, like, okay, where's something we can talk about Washington? Crap, we already talked about Samaje Perine. Let's go to Carolina, where wide receiver Devin Funchess said that he is, quote, good to go for Week 16 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, dealing with a shoulder injury. All accounts is that he is going to be fine. He's going to be good to go. I have not heard anything that leads me to believe that he should miss. What we're hearing is that expectations are from the Charlotte Observer is that he will play. Same with a lot of interviews. I think they're just being careful with him, though he has not practiced to this point of the week. If he plays, love Devin Funchess this week.
Yeah, it's a good matchup.
He was very much in consideration for my start of the week, and I darn near put him in my list, but the injury is what kind of made me pump the brakes on him just a little bit. But I think Devin Funchess is a fantastic play. I'm not scared about what happened to him last week. Last week, there was only so much passing volume. It all went to Greg Olsen. Tampa Bay is horrifically bad against the wide receiver. I don't care that it's divisional. I'm starting Devin Funchess, and that's just a little bit of bonus information for you guys that are listening to us.
There you go.
Additional starts. Let's see. Now let's go to maybe I saw this too. I saw Deshaun Jackson. I was like, Washington, but he's not in Washington anymore. He's in Tampa
not
Bay.
a Redskin. He hasn't been a Redskin for a whole season.
Yeah, for this whole year. Yeah. Tampa Bay wide receiver Deshaun Jackson. He remains sidelined at practice, dealing with an ankle injury. Has not practiced through Thursday. I have not heard a lot on this one. Obviously they're going to baby him, having just played, but I don't think there's any concern about his status for this week. Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard anything, but watching the game back on Monday and seeing how that ankle turned with him and OJ Howard's, this is really good news. Man. Maybe they're just being taking precautions and just like you said, babying him and trying to give him as much treatment as they can, and then most likely he'll be ready for game time. But with those receivers and ankles, man, they kind of need to run. That's kind of is their position.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything concretely one way or another, but just what we heard about what happened after the game. He was on crutches. He was in a walking boot. All of this stuff is concerning for me for a guy that is a speed guy. We're hearing reports that he's been focusing on rehabilitation. So I'm not excited about Deshaun Jackson's upside this week. So
not one bit.
No, I'm leaning towards that he doesn't play. Honestly, it's a bad matchup. Tampa Bay's got nothing to play for except for maybe playing spoiler. But no. I don't know how many people in championship lineups have Deshaun Jackson to begin with, but I wouldn't be playing him this week.
I'm going to say probably little. I would say over under maybe 1%.
1%. I was going to say like 3%. I was going to give him like a chance. He could have rode someone's bench. All right, let's go to Denver, where wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders remained sidelined through practice on Thursday. He's dealing with an ankle injury as well. I believe the expectation is that he will play. Have you heard differently?
No, I haven't heard. He has a. I wouldn't say. I would say it's a favorable matchup if he had better quarterback play. But since that's not a thing, No, I don't like this at all.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a lingering issue that he's had since week 6. But yeah, I think quarterback play makes him not a viable starter anyway. I mean, in week 10, he went off for 13 points, but let's go back to week 6. 7.6 fantasy points. That's the standard scoring. 0, 0, 3, 13.7 against New England, 1.5, 1.2, 1.1, 1.6, and then 6.8 last week against a fantastic matchup against the Colts. So, I'm not starting Emmanuel Sanders no matter what anyway. So hopefully you have already made adjustments for his injury status. Let's go to, Oakland, where wide receiver Amari Cooper is believed to be, quote, on track to play in Week 16. That's great. I'm not playing him. I'm not touching it. What a letdown of a season. And same with this next guy, Baltimore Ravens wide receiver Jeremy Maclin, who is listed as doubtful for Week 16 versus the Indianapolis Colts. Great matchup. I want nothing to do with the guy.
Hey man, give Jerry Maclin a break, man. Give him a little break, all right?
Why?
He's coming in. You know, he's got a boring offense. He's got to be a part of. Come on, man, give him a little break, man. Come on, take it easy.
Boring offense. What?
Take it easy. I'm messing with you. I'm playing.
I was gonna say we found our groove. We found our rhythm.
I see. You guys have. I got to be honest. You guys got a little groove, man. It's going to some points. You know, I'm a little hurt about Alex Collins. That's my guy. I like Alex Collins.
Then this is a side rant, but yeah, Alex Collins, so good between the 20s, and then they keep putting Buck Allen in the red zone. So it's frustrating as an Allen owner, or as a Collins owner. If you're an Allen owner, you're vulturing points there. And then obviously they want to baby him last week, getting banged up early in that game. So we'll see. And let's do our last bit of news at the tight end position, where the Los Angeles Chargers have placed tight end Hunter Henry on injured reserve, just as I predicted on Tuesday's show. It was funny. They said they don't know his status for this week. Come on, it's a lacerated kidney. He's done.
So put some icy on it. He'll be okay.
Just rub some dirt on it.
Just put it back. I just need it for one more week. Just one more.
No, you don't get him. Not against me. So my question is, Antonio Gates, what is his relevance this week?
Well, if he can just get those old legs to get to churning from Phillip Rivers, I think this is going to be good. Good gosh, I know I wasn't able to be here last Tuesday.
If he can just get out of first gear.
What a crap game by Phillip Rivers. I mean, the matchup's so beautiful. Everything is there, and just turnover city, and he cost you a lot of people with God. But yeah, listen. So Antonio Gates, if he can get those legs to churning, I think that's a solid play for you. You got to put him in. You know, he's reliable. They got the relationship there. I like it. I like it.
See, my concern is just the all-around committee. I think they're going to use Antonio Gates as that pass-catching red zone option. We even saw it last week. He caught a ball. He got 10 yards. He got a touchdown. He got you 7 points. Nobody started him. He's only owned in 32% of leagues, and I doubt he was even started in 90% of those leagues. But because he hasn't done a single thing. Let's see. His last good game was week 2.
Wow.
Where he got you 11 yards and a touchdown.
There you go.
So, I doubt anyone was starting Antonio Gates. I revised my previous statement. Maybe teams that were in consolation rounds and were completely abandoned and given up on.
Maybe daily. Maybe there's some daily out
there. Could be some daily fantasy leagues out there that started him. I could see that. But, no, this probably doesn't help anybody. I will say that Jeff Cumberland and Seth McGrath, they're going to probably get the early down work. They're more versatile. They're blockers. In the red zone, I think that's where you'll see Antonio Gates. I think he's a massive boom-bust potential, though. His chance of busting is pretty good, too. So, I don't know.
You gotta go find the stat guy for that team and tell them that touchdown thing that he had last year, a couple touchdowns were taken away. That's the only way you're going to get him to play encouraged.
Got to light a fire under him.
Light a fire under him.
Yeah. Well, they're going up against the New York Jets too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see where the Jets rank versus tight ends. Let's see. Jets are middle of the pack against tight ends, so it's not a terrible matchup. I don't know. I would be. There's so many other good streaming options out there at the tight end position. I just don't see a way. I mean, Cameron Brate with O.J. Howard going down. Evan Ingram's probably available. Jesse James. There's a lot of guys that I like as streaming options better than the uncertainty of Antonio Gates this week. So
I don't know. I don't want to get in on a long tangent with this, but just looking at the game film from the Jets these last couple weeks, I think the Chargers are going to take advantage of him in the pass. So, passes could go his way. And then, Melvin Gordon's been on a little hot streak recently, too. So, he might get involved in the passing game and get the run in. So, it's just going to be off a game script what this team is going to do and, see if he can be able to get him involved. But, he's that guy that in the red zone that he's probably going to look for since Hunter Henry's not going to be there now, being on IR.
It's possible, but they've got so many pass-catching wide receivers, red zone threats. I mean, the Jets are giving up the 11th most points to fantasy wide receivers. So, yeah, it's a great match for Keenan Allen and the wide receiving core there. So, all the more reason that it concerns me about Antonio Gates in a committee. So, I don't know. It's too much uncertainty for me when it's Week 16, championship weekend. Your Christmas day is going to be either made or ruined by the outcomes of these games because Monday is the end of your fantasy season, unless you play in one of those crazy abomination leagues that go to Week 17, which we will be here. We're not going to be happy about it, but we'll be here.
I'm going to spit on your league. Spit on those leagues.
Man. Trying to find analytics on who we think is going to actually play that week as opposed to who's going to be bent. I hate Week 17 so much. But we'll be here for you guys. No negativity here. But yeah, so
super negativity here.
But back to Antonio Gates. I'm looking elsewhere this week. There's too many other players that I like that are probably available on your waiver wires, or if you've been following the show at all, probably already on your roster. So with that, I guess we'll move into our topic of the day, which is our Week 16 starts and sits. Now, it's championship weekend. We're going to try and do our best to give you guys all of the locked and loaded. This has such a small chance of going wrong options that we can find out there. I mean, we do that anyway, but obviously this is for all the marbles. And we'll do this as we always do. We'll start at the quarterback position where I am starting the aforementioned Blake Bortles against the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are giving up a ton of points. I know. They have been getting better. I know. But guess what? They're still giving up the third most points on the season to fantasy quarterbacks. Blake Bortles has been on fire, as I mentioned before, over the last quarter of the season. He's the quarterback 2. They've got nothing but depth at the wide receiver position there. Someone goes down. They've got 2 other guys that step up. He's got his running game back with Leonard Fournette, so they can't just drop back into pass coverage. I think their defense is going to keep them in very good scoring positions. I love everything about Blake Bortles this week. I'm locking him into my lineup. I'm riding him, hopefully, to a championship over CJ. And his guy, CJ, you have this guy too, don't you? Is this a lock-off? I do.
This is a lock-off. This is a lock-off because my guy that I got in my lineup, ready to go out there Christmas Day, I'm going to open my gifts later that night, have a little eggnog, spend a little time with the family, turn on this Eagle and Oakland Raiders game and see my boy, Nick Foles is gold. He's going to go out there and have a game against the Oakland Raiders, who have been absolutely dreadful on defense, giving up on average 20-plus points to fantasy quarterbacks. It is ridiculous how bad this team is on defense. So Nick Foles, the same Nick Foles that threw for not 1, not 2, but 4 touchdowns last week. He's looking comfortable. He's got the chemistry growing with this team. He's not making mistakes and turning the ball over. All those things are green. Those things are good. Those things that you want your championship quarterback to do. And that's why I'm locking him in, man. I'm locking him in.
I hate it so much because I actually really, really like the start.
Yeah, I know you do.
I was actually looking to pick up Nick Foles so that you couldn't, and realized that you already had him.
Yeah.
I was literally trying to block you. I was like, dang it. I
tried to block you on Tyler Croft, and I saw you picked him up.
Yeah, yeah. That was a bit of news we didn't mention either. Yeah. Julius Thomas was placed on injury reserve as well, so
serves him right.
Doesn't really help anybody, but
he sucked anyway.
He was not having a good season. We reported that he was probably getting dropped at the end of the year anyway. So, yeah, not too surprised there.
Mercy rule.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. Lock off, face off.
Yeah.
Blake Bortles, Nick Foles. My only silver lining here, and all the more like I was pulling against the Packers anyway. But man, if the Packers can win and the Vikings lose, then the Eagles don't have to worry about losing the number 1 spot in the NFC. And we've heard that the Eagles are more than willing to sit their starters. So I'm fingers crossed. Really hoping.
Hunley is not beating the Vikings.
Man, so I can dream.
You can dream.
If Green Bay wins on Saturday Night Football, I am going to love watching you scramble for players because of your Monday night game.
All right.
And I only bring light to that for you, for the listeners as well, who need to be aware of the possible circumstance.
Sure.
Though I'm sure you know, being an Eagles fan.
Yeah, sure.
Let's move on to the running back position, where I am starting Dion Lewis. Now, Dion Lewis has a fantastic matchup against the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are giving up the most fantasy points to fantasy running backs on the season by a decent amount. They're giving up, on average, 27.5 points to fantasy running backs. Fantastic. Yeah. Now, I know, you're like, oh, Dion Lewis, committee. Oh, but here's the thing. Rex Burkhead, he's down. He's not playing in this game. And Rex Burkhead, look, Dion Lewis was getting the majority of the carries, but Rex Burkhead was getting the red zone work. Yes, Mike Gillislee's a thing. And if Mike Gillislee is active, maybe the ceiling comes down a little bit, but I still think that Dion Lewis is going to get an increase in volume. I think he gets more of an opportunity to be used in those positions. James White's still going to get the ball, but Dion Lewis in a fantastic matchup with his main competition for touches going down. They like using Rex Burkhead and Dion Lewis because they are versatile. They don't give up what the play call is by bringing them in. If James White comes in, odds are it's a pass. If Mike Gillislee comes in, most likely it's a run. The Patriots don't like to telegraph, so I think that Dion Lewis gets some opportunities. I really like his upside this week, so go on and start Dion Lewis in your leagues with confidence. Most of you probably have him as a flex option, and you could very easily get low-end running back 1 value out of him this week.
I like it.
CJ, your guy.
All right, my guy Jay Ajayi. Listen, one thing I hope you guys just follow the trend because I have a lot of this when you just follow my
Eagles players
to this. Yeah, Eagles players in this great matchup they got going on here. So listen, Jay Ajayi, man, you look at his numbers, man. His numbers continue to go up week after week after week. And one thing I want to shine light on last week that really got my attention and had me really excited is seeing how he's getting involved in the passing game. The passing game is one thing Doug Peterson likes. He loves his running backs to catch the ball. So Jay Ajayi catching those screen balls, beautiful. That's money. Chick-ching. That's stuff that you want because he's definitely going to run the ball. He's going to go fight for those extra yards. But to get that extra, vous chez off like wa esquire, to get that catching, receiving game, that's just add a little icing to the cake. And guess what? I have him locked in my lineup this week again. It's beginning to look a lot like a win-win.
I'm trying to debate whether or not I have to edit what you just said because I don't think you know what the actual translation for that is.
Well, I mean, listen, when I say it, it's concerning fantasy football and it's good, not the
literal translation from French.
The yikes, not the yikes one. It's not the yikes.
Jeez. All right, young listeners, please don't go to Google Translate and look up what CJ
They don't know
said.
what that is. They don't even.
We're just gonna move on to the wide receiver starts of the week, where I am starting Juju Smith-Schuster. Pittsburgh is on the road in Houston, which I know. Oh, Big Ben on the road, scary. But Houston is giving up the 5th most points to fantasy wide receivers. They are atrociously bad on defense. The Steelers are very good on defense, and the Texans are also not good on offense. So I expect Pittsburgh's defense to keep them in good scoring positions. And Antonio Brown, not a thing. Juju, massive uptick in volume and opportunity. He is the locked and loaded guy who I think is going to be the lead wide receiver here. Obviously, he's not getting all the volume. It's going to get spread out to Martavis Bryant, Le'Veon Bell, probably Jesse James, and 1 or 2 other players are probably going to get involved here. I expect committee to make up that difference. But Juju, he is, I think, locked and loaded to have a fantastic week, so I am starting him with confidence this week. CJ, your guy.
Like your pick. Like the pick. My guy, Marvin Jones, man. He going against
Revenge.
the Bengals. Revenge game going against the Bengals. Look, Marvin Jones has been doing great work right now. I mean, he had a horrible year last year, man. Very underwhelming. Just this just disappeared towards the middle and the end of the season. But man, he is showing out this year, man, making ridiculous catches. Matthew Stafford is looking for him, man. Everything that you want to hear, everything you're seeing with your eyes and with those stats that are just continuing to go up. So I like this one. Look, he didn't get you a touchdown last week. Got some yardage. He was okay, but I see him getting some touchdowns this week, and not just one, but some. I want two. And you know why? Because I'm locking him in the lineup as well. So I need him. I'm invested. That's why I put these people out here, man. I'm invested in these guys.
I was going to say, you've locked 3 players. You're actually playing against me.
I'm invested, man.
I've locked 2. I don't actually have Juju Smith-Schuster.
You're chicken.
No, I just don't own him. At the tight end position, we have Evan Ingram. The Giants, we saw what they did to the Eagles. I think that they're kind of figuring things out. And the Cardinals have been less than what we thought they were going to be. Obviously, Patrick Peterson has been awesome, but I think he's going to be on Sterling Shepard, and I think Evan Ingram is going to exploit a weakness over the middle. So I just like Evan Ingram's opportunity for a high volume, high potential for scoring, and it's just statistically a good matchup as well. So the Giants, they're giving up. The Giants are giving up a ton of points, but and we all know that, but not far behind them are the Arizona Cardinals. So yeah, I'm starting him with confidence this week.
Like the pick.
Your guy.
All right, my guy, Cameron Brate, man. Listen, I know I haven't talked about this guy a lot. Last year I did, though. I love this dude. But this year, he's been kind of up and down. But, man, one thing that I like, and I see it, look, it's unfortunate that this happened, but O.J. Howard, he's out. He's not a thing. So guess what? That means Cameron Brate, he is a thing. That's going to be the guy. Jameis Winston, he's going to look for him. He's going to give him the ball. He's going to get those opportunities, and that is great. Listen, if you're a team that is still fighting, still on the good track to get to the championship, and this is your week, and you just happen to have Cameron Brate, I'm saying you can start this dude with confidence because he's going to get the rock.
I also want to throw out one additional one. Jack Doyle has a good matchup against my Ravens. I hate to say it, but I think he's the only pass-catching option that you can trust this week.
Jack Doyle, he's solid. Last week I played him in the league. I just went out there winging a prayer. They had him projected to do 11.5 on the dot. He does 11.5. So there you go.
There you go. He meets his goals. He does not exceed them, but he meets them. Yeah. So I just wanted to cover those bases because tight ends are a little bit harder to come by. Let's go to our sits of the week, and this will be a little bit quicker. I'm sitting Marcus Mariota. Now, he's at home, but he's playing the Los Angeles Rams, which we just saw what they did to Russell Wilson. And Marcus Mariota has been incredibly underwhelming for the majority of the season. I just don't see any way that he has an incredible, productive fantasy winning day. There are better streaming options out there. Both of our guys, which you were able to pick up off waiver wires, I think are going to possibly double his point outage. So, I'm not starting Marcus Mariota this week. CJ, your guy.
Listen, my guy is Derek Carr. Look, I love Derek Carr, but I don't like him this week. Look, I'm not just speaking as an Eagles fan, but I'm looking at this team that is looking at the Philadelphia Eagles that's projected to go and hold down the number 1 seed. This defense, they were flat out embarrassed. They were flat out ashamed, and they got a little gunstump in them, man. They want to prove something on Monday night and let them know this is a lockdown defense that was sometimes carrying this team and getting these 12 to the 12 wins that they have. So I think they're going to victimize. I think they're going to destroy. I think they're going to conquer Derek Carr and this god-awful, terrible, underwhelming, disappointing Raiders offense. Derek Carr, I'm sorry. I got you projected to get at least 3 interceptions, man. I'm sorry, dude. You're going to turn the ball over, and I don't even see you breaking over 200 yards total. So, yeah, this is going to be a tough one for him.
Wow. Just that's a bad game.
That's a bad game.
At the running back position, I am sitting Jamal Williams. Look, we know Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be there, so the thought process is, they're going to run the ball a lot more. Well, they're going up against the Minnesota Vikings, which, as I've mentioned quite frequently in the last couple weeks, and this stat has not changed, the best run defense in the league, especially when it comes to fantasy points allowed. They're giving up the least by a good margin, and look, it's divisional. They know what the Packers are going to do. Aaron Jones is coming back and getting some of the volume. None of this looks outstanding. I know Jamal Williams was a great pickup. He helped you win a lot of weeks, but I just see really no way that this is going to be one of those weeks. It is not a good matchup. I am not playing him, and I own him, and I will not be playing him. Don't start Jamal Williams. CJ, your guy.
My guy is the guy that Jason loved, the guy that Jason adored this year, and he had him in his top 5 for some freaking reason. I'm talking about Marshawn Lynch. Listen, once again, going against the Eagles defense. I'm telling you, they're gonna stand up. They're gonna rise up. They're gonna come out and put a beating on these Raiders, man. And the one thing they don't do, they don't give up good stuff on the run. Now, listen, y'all know you're gonna go with CJ. What about last week? Last week is last week. This is this week. Look at the track record. They normally shut down the run. All right. So I got another week. They shut down the run and keep this Oakland's running game non-existent. So I'm sitting down Marshawn Lynch. I'm sorry.
CJ, he not only had Marshawn Lynch in his top 5, he had Marshawn Lynch in his top 3. So
yeah,
just saying. Yeah,
it's bad selection by him.
I can't wait.
I get it though. I saw the whole the Hallmark story of him coming back, playing for his home team. All of that. I loved it. But I just knew this team. I knew their mindset signing them. So yeah, I knew that wasn't going to be a thing.
Yeah. And again, stuff we're going to talk about a lot in the offseason. Let's move to the wide receiver position where I am sitting T.Y. Hilton. Now, I know I said I like Jack Doyle. Ravens are going to do everything they can to take away the deep pass, especially with Jimmy Smith going down. T.Y. Hilton is going to be that guy they're going to eliminate from this game. And even with Jimmy Smith going down, the Ravens still have an incredibly talented secondary. I don't see any way that T.Y. Hilton has a very high floor play, much less a really good ceiling. He's going to be incredibly boom-bust. I don't like T.Y. Hilton at all this week, so I would not recommend starting him. I know he's a guy you probably burned a second-round pick on, but sorry. I mean, this is fantasy football. This is why we talk about taking a look at your fantasy playoffs pretty early in the season when you can still make moves. CJ, you're a wide receiver.
My guy is Sammy Watkins. Look, I mean, I was right Tuesday. If you were here to listen to the show, man, wasn't really doing good when Robert Woods comes back, man. Robert Woods is Jared Goff's guy. He looks for him, man. So listen, I'm sitting them again. Got a kind of a tough matchup against the Titans. They can be stingy when they want to. I know last week giving up those big yardage to Garrett Selleck towards the end. Jimmy Rockwell's number 2 favorite target, by the way. So listen. So I'm just saying I don't like this matchup this week. So I'm gonna say sitting down Sammy Watkins.
I'm incredibly pro Garrett Selleck. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, you say that, and
he
then
was
when
my
I say
waiver wire pickup.
And then when I say go pick him up for the Tuesday show, I don't want to. You can't even pay me to play anybody.
Yeah, I don't like Jaguars. Him this week. I liked him last week.
He's still going to be productive even against the Jaguars.
We will see, won't we? And with that, let's end up at the tight end position where I am sitting Austin Hooper. Guys, we talk about those early season perceptions, and for some reason I get questions all the time about Austin Hooper. When's a good time to start him? When's it going to work out? Why do you think it's going to be a thing? Austin Hooper hasn't done anything for almost the entirety of the year. He has been a massive letdown with the exception of, 2 games? So
beginning of the season, and then what was it like?
Yeah, he had 120 some yards and a touchdown in week 1. I think he's only got 3 touchdowns on the year. Let me see. It was week 8 and week 10 he scored touchdowns. Since that touchdown scoring week in week 10, he's had negative -0.1, 3.8, 2.1, 2.3, 1.2, and now he's going against his divisional opponents, the New Orleans Saints, who are giving up the least points to fantasy tight ends. So why are people asking me about Austin freaking Hooper? Don't start him. It's a bad idea. I don't know why you're rostering him. I don't know why anyone's thinking about playing him. Do not start him in your leagues this week. CJ, your guy.
I second that, sir. I second that. Listen, my guy is Jared Cook. Listen, I know you're looking at it like, look, with CJ, Jared Cook, he's been like Derek Carr's guy. He's been looking for him. Yeah, I know, but he's going against a team that's averagely, outside of that blemish last week, been very good against tight ends. All right, so that's why I'm saying don't sit him down. And then when you look at Jared Cook's stats, he's been very inconsistent. He has like Julio Jones numbers. He'll have like a big game and then he'll disappear. Have another big game and then he'll disappear for like 4 weeks. And he's going to disappear again on Christmas night. So listen, once again, this is championship, guys. I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm invested in this, all right? I have him in some leagues, and I'm sitting him because it's a bad matchup.
You know what? I'm going to throw out an extra one because I feel like Austin Hooper is too obvious, but I had to say something because so many people have asked me, and I don't know why. I'm not starting Cameron Brate. Now, I know O.J. Howard's banged up.
You besmirched me.
And I think Cameron Brate's going to be the starter here. I'm going to besmirch you a little bit, just simply because, and just put a little bit spicy for the pepper, just simply because the Panthers are giving up almost no points. Deshaun Jackson's not going to be out there, and I think that with two offensive weapons running around out there, they should do a good job of shutting them down. I'm going to contradict your start, CJ. How about that?
You scoundrel.
So there we go. Now that helps no one. So let's see. Want to throw out another one? I'll throw out. I'm not starting Jason Witten. I'm not starting Austin Seferian-Jenkins. They have bad matchups.
I don't like. You know what? I actually do like. You said Jack Doyle earlier, right?
Jack Doyle, yeah, that was a bonus one I threw out earlier. Yeah.
Ooh, what about Ebron? You like Ebron against what does he play? The Buccaneers?
No, he's playing against the Bengals. I do like Eric Ebron. I also like Ricky Seals-Jones this week. He's been losing out on the snap count lately, but the Giants are giving up, I think it's the most points of fantasy tight ends. So, yeah, I know this kind of got jumbled towards the end there, but, a lot of good information.
Hey, a little bonus information. There you go.
Exactly. So
Sue us if we give you options, all right?
Yeah. How dare we go outside the format on championship weekend and give you guys as many options and information as we can? How dare we?
Let's have some decorum in here.
Yes. So you know what? For that, we're out of here.
We're gone.
Yeah, we're gone. Make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday when we'll be talking about all of the studs and duds from Week 16. Guys, best of luck to you in your fantasy playoffs, your championships if you've made it that far. Don't forget, if you win a title, we want to see on Twitter the hashtag FFFChamp. That's hashtag FFFChamp. We want to see those championships. And, make sure you guys tune in on Tuesday when we're going to not only be recapping the studs and duds, but we will be talking about the waiver wire targets for Week 17. Yep, we'll be here. We're here for you guys. We're here for all your leagues and all your league formats, whether we believe in it or not. So it's what we do. So, yeah, tune in on Tuesday, guys. Same show, same time, same place, same channel. Remember, look for us wherever you are. The easiest way to follow us is on Twitter at the FF Fanatics. I am also on Twitter at GPalmerFFF. CJ's at CJ Hickman89. You can follow us on Facebook. You can hit subscribe down below if you're watching us right now on YouTube or if you're on iTunes or whatever your listening service is. We are a year-round show. We'll be here every Tuesday and Friday, year-long, and as we prepare for 2018. And remember, if you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Help us go that step further, support us, and help us keep making this show, which is, we do it for you guys. And hopefully we help you bring home some titles. The listener base has been steady. It's been strong. And we hope that you guys are all winning. And it's going to be interesting. It all comes down to this. Christmas Day. It's going to be a dark Christmas for some folks and hopefully a bright and shiny one for others. So hopefully your fantasy games don't come down to Christmas Day. Hopefully you'll know by Christmas Eve, and then you can just enjoy the holiday. For all of the non-Christmas people out there, it's another day, and your championship's still going to be won or lost that day. So we'll see how it all plays out. Any parting thoughts before we sign off, CJ?
Oh, man, I just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. Hope you guys have a good time with your families, or if you happen at work, sorry about that, man. Get that money, though, by the way. Get that money. And then, Jason, Feliz Navidad, my friend.
Fair enough. All right, so we're out of here. Everyone take care. Have a great weekend. Don't forget to set your lineups by Saturday. And remember to tune in. Go to at the FF Fanatics on Twitter to get the injury updates leading up to the Sunday games. And we'll also be tweeting out CJ's live Periscope about his last-second predictions as well. As CJ said, happy holidays to everybody. Best of luck, and we will see you guys on Tuesday. Hopefully, all of you will have shiny, bright championships, and you'll get some rings and some belts and some trophies to commemorate this fantastic season. This bumpy road we've all been on together. This has been the most inconsistent year I can remember in recent memory. And we'll have a whole offseason. It has been
sad, but I'm kind of excited about the offseason.
Indeed. Luckily, we have a whole offseason to diagnose, see what happened, do some in-depth analytics, and get ready to use that information for next year. So, all right, take care, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then. Bye.